Part 2 of looking at Peter Attia's article on menopausal hormonal therapy and its safety, because there is so much to unpack here. It's such a great story. Okay, dementia. This is a complex one. You need to read the article to understand, but I'll try to boil it down into a few sentences. Basically, there's different data here depending on age at which you start HRT. For those women on HRT starting during midlife when menopause hits, the therapy actually had a significant protective effect and no difference in risk was observed between those who had never used HRT and those who started in midlife and continued through late life. The cardiovascular piece, and this is also a bit complex, so I really highly encourage you to read the entire article. But one of the things that he says is that a secondary analysis of pooled data from the WHI found that among women who began the study within 10 years of starting menopause, HRT was associated with reduced coronary disease relative to placebo. There's a lot more there. You have to unpack it. But what he basically says at the end of this paragraph is that when it comes to HRT, starting early reduces potential cardiovascular risk and may even prove additional cardiovascular protection. He goes on to say that this also, just like some of the other data, is also tied to the slightly older forms of HRT that were used during that study as well. Okay, bone health. This is a real simple one. Estrogen is an essential hormone for maintaining bone density. Women are much more affected by osteoporosis than men. I think we're like 2/3 of patients. When your estrogen levels drop during menopause, Peter Attia says, the rate at which your bone is eaten away increases. And at the same time, resistance training becomes less effective in stimulating bone growth. So HRT keeps estrogen levels from dropping too low and therefore prevents this loss and lowers the risk of potentially debilitating fractures. And this is my absolute favorite part of the story. It's why I love the story, why we love that Peter Attia is turning his attention to menopause, and we couldn't agree more. And just thrilled that this message is getting out there. This is word for word from his article. Careful consideration of existing data reveals that the widespread panic over hormone therapy risk has not been remotely justified. Yet, tragically, literally millions of women today have been and continue to be denied this therapy by doctors who simply fail to study the results of the very same trial that they used to lambast the hormones. Results from the WHI and other studies offer no indication that HRT poses any meaningful threat when initiated early in menopause. On the contrary, it likely provides protection from chronic diseases such as breast cancer, dementia, and heart disease, in addition to its clear benefits for bone health and frailty prevention. I would add also to quality of life, which, frankly, should be enough.